Welcome everybody back to Boost in Motion, guys, and today we're going to be installing a low pressure fuel pump, or you can use this as a fuel pump replacement for your Q50, Q60, but it should be very similar, but this will be on a Q60. The reason why I'm replacing the fuel pump is we're going to be going to run e-mixes on our Q60. So what you have to do is you'll have to replace the pump in there. Anyways, guys, let's jump into the video. All right, so let's jump into it, guys. So other YouTube videos are going to talk about the replacement of the low pressure fuel pump, right? Because the stock fuel pump can't run up to E30 mix. I've heard that you can actually run up to E50 mix depending on the low pressure fuel pump you go with, but it's recommended to run, if you want to run E30 mix, which is about 30% of ethanol to the gas tank, E85, you will have to upgrade your low pressure fuel pump because you will possibly have fuel pump issues depending on how your car is tuned. Now, shout out to Enthusiast POV. About a year and a half ago, I bought his full replacement low pressure fuel pump because he didn't want to deal with the issues. So what he did is he put a Walboro 450 in a different fuel pump, and this is what we're going to replace. So this won't be a video showing you guys how to change the fuel pump. Well, the fuel pump inside the mechanism itself. This is just a whole basket replacement. Anyway, guys, let's jump into it. All right, so we're going to do this a little bit unorthodox, but what we're going to do now is we're going to try to get access to the rear section of the car, so we're going to have to remove the rear bottom seat. Right? So just pull up. Do that on both sides. All right? Pull it up. And I want you guys to take this completely out. Let's go next. Next thing I want you guys to do is open the gas cap. You want to relieve some of that pressure, at least from the tank side. And just leave it open like this. Leave this flap open so you remember to close it up later on. So just leave it like that. Now we're going to move to the inside of the car. Now, usually people recommend disabling the fuse. Also, you're going to see two caps right here. Usually the fuel pump should be closest to where the fuel neck is. So there should be 4 10mm bolts here. Or 3 in this case. You will have some fuel that will pop out, so bring some rags. And yeah, let's get this started. Let me start taking some of this stuff off. Now that we have those 3 bolts off, push out this grommet. It should make it a little bit easier and give you more play. And just kind of like move this out of the way. Now, this is the harness for the fuel pump, and this is the gas line that goes to the fuel pump, right? And then you have these 6 bolts. I don't know if I have the right size, but if not, use a Phillips head. And when you're removing it, be very careful. There's going to be an O-ring under it. I'll show you guys after. But to relieve some of the fuel pressure without using the fuse method, I want you guys to unclip the harness. Right? Well, I can't really do it that well on video, but unclip the harness and start the car and let it run. It will get a check engine light, but it will die. Give it about 2 or 3 tries to see if it can restart, and then from there we'll move on next. All right, it's now disconnected. We're gonna start the car. See if I could do it all on video for you guys. All right, I flipped it for y'all. Let's start the car. All right, car started. Car should be running. It say it's on low. It's not on E at all. It's just that the car isn't reading at all because it doesn't send anything to the car. Now I'm surprised I didn't get a check engine light yet, but the fuel pressure should be high like this for a little while. I'm surprised that you get a check engine light yet. That's super weird. I don't want to record the whole thing, but let me let the car run and I'll give you guys an update. While waiting on that, it's been about a minute or 2 now. I want you to start unscrewing these 4 bolts. Don't take them all out yet, because we still have to open this fuel line, and there's gonna be some gasoline that will fall. So I'm gonna try my best to wrap some thing around that so we don't get too much gasoline spilled on here. All right. But anyways, let's continue. All right, about 2 minutes later, I gave it a little gas and it shut right off. All right, guys. So the car will not restart. Now that allows us to start working on the fuel pump. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to take off the fuel line, and we're going to wrap this around there, and you should be able just to clip this and push it in and just pull it. Anyways, let's go. Come on, guys, hit that like button, please. I would really appreciate it. I try my best to give you guys the best content on installations because this is what I'm good at. I can show you guys step by step and so that you guys feel comfortable. All right. I know you clip it and then probably just gotta push. I don't want to damage anything here. Clip. There you go. All right, it's gonna start leaking out. I don't want to leak. I don't want it leaking too much. Really don't like fuel smell in my car either, so I'm trying to do this my best way possible. All right, barely any fuel came out. See, barely any fuel. All right, that's good. You got that part out. Now, oh, well, we got fuel falling now out of here. All right, cool. Let's just move this to a side. Is anything gonna pour out? No, nothing's pouring out. Okay, that's a good thing. Okay, so barely any fuel smell back here. All right, next thing we're gonna do is remove these 4 screws. I don't think I have the specific size for these, so I'm just gonna use a Phillips head and remove these. Okay, that should coming out pretty easy. 1, 2. All right, I'm not going to record this part because it doesn't make any sense, but you guys know what to do here. All right, now I'm taking off the last one, and I believe the pump should try to push up. Yep, and the pump tried to push up. All right, it's actually pushing up. Let me just move this cloth out the way. All right, let me not lose this screw. That's 6 of them. A bracket should come off with it. Move that bracket to a side. Now, we have to disconnect another gas line that will be inside. And everybody told me be very careful on removing this from outside the hose because there is a O-ring that is around here and you don't really want to get too much fuel on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that O-ring. This reminds me of Maxima days because this O-ring used to swell and everything on the last car. With this one, I'm just going to remove it so I don't have to really deal with it later on. I'm going to wipe this down and just make sure it's good. Let's put that over here and put that over here and everything. Put this to a side, okay? We don't want to lose that O-ring. Remember, you need that. Now, I'm doing this all on video for you guys. This is my first time changing this out. Everyone said be very careful on removing this because there's a hose and the hose might cut on trying to remove it. And I could tell you guys right now, they ain't lying about it. You can take a look. I think it's this specific hose because it rubs against here. And I guess that the gasoline makes it very fragile over time. Let me see how to remove this without damaging anything. I don't really know how to do so. Let me just see if I can push this in. All right, what else is here that's caught? I don't know what else is caught here. Okay, this is the fuel sending unit. That's kind of in the way. Oh, this is how y'all guys cut it right there. Okay. Okay, so I can see how you guys damage this thing. You got to be very careful on bringing this stuff up. Okay, so it's almost out. Next thing is that. We're almost out of here. Almost in the clear. This is not that easy to come out. I can see how people could damage it if they're not patient. Yeah, I can see how you guys cut this fuel line because just pulling it out is an annoyance. Okay, and all right. Now the whole pump is out with the exception of the fuel line, which is right here. If you guys can take a look, the fuel line will be right here. We have to disconnect this line right here. All right. Let's see if I can do this without damaging or hurting anything. Push that in. All right. this is not that easy. I could see why you guys damage these things. Like a small clip. Oops, that fell. Let me see if I could put this in a slightly better place for you guys to see. All right, success. Okay, now I'm gonna take the pump out. Oh shit. Take the pump out, and we're gonna move this to the side. Okay. Now we're gonna grab the new pump, and we're gonna reconnect it to the same thing right here, and take that hose out of the tank. All right. Same hose. I can see why people could really damage this. I hope I didn't damage this, because that'll be very important not to damage this part. All right, naturally do it. I hope I didn't damage anything, because this car will sit for a while if anything's damaged. All right, clipped in. All right, so my filler neck is a little longer. It doesn't fit there. Okay, now let's clip back in. Right? So what we're going to do now is start putting the fuel pump back in. All right. It's submerged in there. Everything's connected. Now what you're going to do next is, remember, it's going to push up, so you have to push down. It's perfectly fine. I'm just going to rub around the edge, because that's where some of the fuel spilled, and I don't want all that fuel to get on the O-ring, because, you know, the O-ring is what's going to sit there, and I don't want the O-ring to swell and everything like that. Should have did this before the fact. All right. Now, take the O-ring, put it on. No, don't drop the O-ring in there. Let's not do that today. O-ring is... All right. So, some stuff might have been not included, but I got it back in. I don't know what I recorded or whatever, because the camera stopped. But I pushed it back in. Be very careful. Remember, it's going to sit up above. Push it down. Remember the O-ring. Clean around the O-ring hole to get any of that gasoline so it doesn't swell it up. And start threading, hand threading, or putting on some of these nuts by hand, just so you could get it to hold into place. The reason why I don't really want you guys to put it all the way on yet is, I'm gonna tell you right now, what if it doesn't turn on? I don't want you to fully put everything back together without checking the installation and making sure it's working. So connect that back, wipe everything down. Remember, throw away this rag after, because it's gonna smell like gasoline in here, and I know you guys don't want your car to smell like gasoline. So what I'm gonna do now, right now, is that everything's connected. I'm going to take back the same connector here, and I'm gonna plug it back in. All right, it's plugged back in now. And I'm going to turn the car to the on position. I want to hear that the pump is priming. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Heard that? Do it again. Turn it off. Do it again. See? It's turning on. It's priming. All right? So that's a good part. Let me start bolting this stuff back up, and then we'll start the car and make sure that there's no check engine lights. All right? I'm going to let the car run now. I did have about a quarter tank before I started, so that lets me know that the gas tank reader is still working right. I'm still going to give it a couple of revs later down the line once the car starts to warm all the way up. Reason being is I want to see if it has any performance issues. Remember, if there is any leaks or problems with any of the fuel lines, the fuel pressure, the car will start breaking up at the higher amount of RPM. But I don't think I did any issues. You got to speak things into existence that it won't happen. And that's not going to happen at all, because I did everything right. So outside of that, guys, let me just start closing everything up, once again, let me just step out the car and give you guys my final thoughts. All right, guys, so we finally did it. We installed the low pressure fuel pump. Remember, guys, this is the first piece of us going full E85 on our Infiniti Q60. The next thing we're going to install is the AAM competition flex fuel kit, which will be installed with a digital gauge. So that's the second part of it. And then after that, we should be fully ready to be retuned on E30, and even in the future possibly E50 on low pressure fuel pump. I'm going to talk to Sam from Go Racebox and see if we can try to set up on E50, but we'll start with E30 and we'll see where we can go from there. But outside of that, guys, you have a good morning, good afternoon, good night. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Hopefully I made this video a very informative video. Definitely drop the likes, hit the subscribe with the bell notification. Contact me at boostinmotion IG, Facebook, and boostinmotion@gmail.com. Otherwise than that, guys, you have a good day. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Do appreciate you guys. Love you guys very much. You can also check out the 2 links I posted for some of my other videos. Also, on top of that, if you want to purchase some Boost in Motion merch, definitely check the link that I posted also. And finally, if you've been watching all my videos and you enjoy them, please hit the link to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.